Welcome to Truth Be Told. I am your host, Pierre Kasongo. Today, my guest is a local Edmonton author who has written two nonfiction books. No, really, where are you from? And Bended Like You. She is currently working on her third book, which is fiction. Outside of writing and working, she is also an avid outdoorsy person throughout the year, hiking Edmonton's beautiful river valley and and during the warmer month and ice skating around the city during the colder month. Now, around her local adventures, she's on the hunt for different food around our city. Yeah, she's also a foodie. When not eating, so she also loves international traveling, mountain climbing, especially ice climbing, and reading. Listeners, it is my pleasure to welcome Nancy Ing. Nancy, welcome to Truth Be Told.
Hi, Pierre. It's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me. It's an honor to be here.
Now, obviously, the question that I must ask you first. No, really, where are you from? How many times have you been asked that question?
Oh, maybe just once. No, I'm just no. I've been asked so many times. That is that is why I named my book with that question. It could be a very innocent, curious question on one hand, right? And then on the other hand, uh, it's a it's a different kind of question in the sense that I don't belong here, that I'm the
Yeah.
other. So um, yeah, it's I've been asked as you probably have been, and as probably many people of color have been asked this question so many times, and I knew I had to name my book that question because it's a very loaded question.
Yeah. Because when we met, I was laughing my head off when I saw the name of the book. In fact, there was even a couple ahead of me that saw the book, and we were talking about it. And when I even said, if only I had a dime for every time I heard that question. And the one ahead of me even said, yeah, that's what I was just even saying.
I remember that. Yeah, I remember that exact moment. There was a couple of people ahead of you, and that you we were all kind of talking. Yes, yes, it's a very relatable question. It's a universal experience. It really is.
It can be a frustrating question because we'll say the city, but then we'll get like, no, I meant like the cultural background. And it will
Yes.
be frustrating. Like, oh, God.
Yes, I absolutely understand. I do. It's, are they just curious about
Mhm.
where I'm from? Like, again, is it just an innocent curious question, or are
Mhm.
you implying something else,
Mm.
right? And and then it's almost like being on a hamster wheel, just
Yeah.
not getting off of it and not really understanding what they're saying. And so it takes several tries, takes several tries to kind of realize what they're asking. And sometimes it's ugly, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes it is just an innocent, curious question. And I do appreciate that. Yes.
The one of the people that you've interviewed was Kevin Kwan in Smithers, BC,
Yes.
and he actually addressed that right to the point. And it actually is exactly that. Like, just what's really your cultural background?
Right.
And he even addressed in such a straight to the point manner the issue that is taking place like in Asian culture. And I even have to paraphrase this: if we do nothing but follow stereotypes, that's all we're going to be known for. Everybody wants diversity. Everybody wants something challenging to do. And whether it's for Asians or whether it applies for Asians or for being black or for Latinos, any visible minority. Do you think that having that stereotype kind of putting people in a box applies often?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, and whether it's being like, I'll just use the Chinese for example. Whether being good at badminton, or being horrible at driving directions, or for being really good in math, or being really good in the sciences, right? Being
Mhm.
an engineer or doctor, and there's nothing wrong with that, but that's the stereotype, right? Um, and it's just really, I don't even know the word to say, like when I see Michelle Yao, winning the Oscar for Best Actress, in
Mm.
in Hollywood, or seeing the movie Crazy Rich Asians in the movie
Oh,
theater, where this is all defying all of the stereotypes of what Asians are, like, for the longest time, probably forever, we were never, part of the table, right?
mm,
In the mass media, right?
yeah.
And now we get a seat at the table.
Mm,
And maybe it's at the head of the table, right? It doesn't matter. It's a round table, right? And nobody's better or worse than anyone else, but it's just nice to have a seat at the table now. And I really hope it opens up doors, right? I do see it. I do see it. I hope
yeah.
it opens up more doors, whether it's for a Chinese actor or actress, or whether it's another person of color,
Yeah.
to have more representation in the media. And it's so heartening, so wonderful to see someone up there that looks like me,
Absolutely.
whether it could be an actress, or whether it could be a writer, right? Or it could be a singer, anybody who's creating something, right? Being creative, or even someone who is making a podcast, right? Like, how incredible, wonderful that is. Yeah, it really is inspiring.
Yeah. Because even for myself, like being not being black, sometimes people will do that mistake of putting us in a box. Like I was as a kid, I was the black guy who wasn't good at basketball. So I crushed a lot of kids' dreams. So I
Yes.
didn't, yeah. So I wasn't talking like I was from Brooklyn. I didn't dress up in FUBU or Fat Farm.
Mm,
I wasn't rapping. I didn't have cornrows as a kid.
mm,
I wasn't, or I didn't grow up in Compton
mm,
or Atlanta. No,
mm. Yes,
or I didn't have a criminal background or tattoos
mm.
or have grills in my teeth. Nope.
Yes, yes, you defied all of the stereotypes, and yes,
Yeah.
I can relate to. I was never good in math. Numbers, number crunching is not my thing. But it took me a long, long time to realize that the written word was where my heart is. And but that is so anti-Asian, right? And I do not know how to play badminton. I do not know how to play badminton. Um, with in terms of the sciences. I did so bad in the sciences and when I was in, growing up, right? In elementary, junior high, high school. I mean, I went into the social sciences, so that
Hmm.
is half of the sciences. Yeah, and in terms of a sense of direction, maybe, yeah. When I'm driving, I have a horrible sense of direction when I'm driving around the city. So maybe that's the only Asian part of me.
Yeah, because you actually even said that there was a little bit of the clash of like identity because
Hmm.
you were born in Venezuela,
Yes.
yet you're like you're Chinese. You're
Yes.
born in Venezuela. Now you
Hmm.
live in Canada. Did you
Hmm.
ever feel like there was like a issue of I like a clash of identity or kind of like, where you were kind of questioning like what's my authenticity, like where exactly do I belong?
Oh, absolutely, Pierre. Absolutely. Ah, this that's what I call cultural identity struggle.
Yeah.
And yes, I am, sorry, I was born in Venezuela, but of Chinese ancestry. But
Hmm.
I came here as a little girl when I was 7 years old, and I spent the majority part of my life here in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. So yes, there's three cultures that I had to negotiate, and I have a stronger sense of myself now. But when I was growing up, it was, um, I think it started off with, I mean, coming here and just like my first sense of the world was a Venezuelan environment, right, where there is the local people. I see a lot of Africans. I see, and some of my relatives that look like me, right? But when I came here, I I just seen some Chinese people, and it was a very confusing time because I didn't see a lot of Chinese people when I was the first 7 years of my life, right? And they
Hmm.
say that the first 5 years are the most formative years of your life, right? So the first 7 years of my life, I did not see a lot of people that looked like me, and I just assumed I was another Venezuelan little girl running around, and but I guess I was just too young to understand the concepts of cultural identity and of being Chinese or of being Venezuelan, and coming here and growing up here. Um, I just it's so hard to fit in. It was so hard to fit in, and I did not have the best home life as well. So there was that kind of struggle as well. So it was just a very chaotic, unstable part of my life growing up here. But happy to say that as I got older and just talking to other people, listening to other people's stories, and just um, yeah, just making myself more aware of what's going on around the world. I just have a stronger sense of myself, and um, I if you're asking me which culture I identify with now, it I just noticed that as I got older, um, I Venezuela will always be my home. It will always be my heart, even though I spent the majority part of my life here. Even though, yes, I am Chinese ancestrally. And even though I don't, I lost a lot of my Spanish, right? So I feel a bit of like a fraud. Here I am being Venezuelan, but unable to speak Spanish, right? And mastered the English language, right? So I feel a bit of a fraud. So, um, I promise to start taking the Spanish courses again. But yeah, it's every time I go near a Spanish store, I have to go in and I have to find my empanadas, right? Because the empanadas were the food that I had,
Oh, those are so delicious.
aren't they? Right?
They
Yes,
are.
yes, they are. Yes, and I don't know if you know of here, but each country in South America, they have empanadas, but each country makes it different from each other.
Mhm,
So yeah, the ones in Venezuela, they have more of a corn meal. The corn, they use corn flour for it, and
mhm.
yeah, so yeah, it's been quite a journey. But who's to say that maybe in 10 years I'll feel more Canadian. but then
Yeah,
again, but then again, what is Canadian, right? So we're just so multicultural here. So
yeah. You want? Yeah. What do you like in your empanadas? Carne, queso, or pollo?
okay, so pollo is chicken, queso is cheese, carne is beef, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I
Ah,
think
you still got it.
yeah, I don't know how I remember that. I think I like queso. I like queso. I like my queso. I remember just having. I don't know if you've had. It's here. I think it's called hayumi, right? It's you can grill it, right, but it won't melt. And yeah, it's a cheese, so you can eat it, right? So, but it tastes kind of rubbery, but you could eat it. So, yeah, that I remember I had a lot of that when I was small. So, yeah, I like my queso.
Nice. I would. I
Which,
would like the
which,
only southern South America country I've been to was. Oh, actually, it was Brazil.
oh, Brazil.
Yeah.
Did you have some empanadas there?
Not the not the empanadas.
Mm.
I interestingly enough, um, get ready ready for this. I actually, you know what? I went to a churrasca,
What
so
is that?
I'm probably mispronouncing it. You know how Brazilians have the like the like the meat heavy
Mm-hmm.
restaurant,
Mm-hmm.
and like they'll have lamb,
Mm-hmm.
beef, chicken, and amongst them they'll have one of the things that they went to this churrasca was chicken heart. Yeah, that was my reaction initially.
Did you have it?
Yeah.
And what is the verdict? What did you think of it?
Hey, this is pretty good.
Oh, nice.
You must have had. I mean, you must have being seeing that you're a foodie, yeah, yourself. You must have had some moments where you're thinking, you know what, I'll try it.
I did. I did during my travels, especially
Hmm.
when I went to Mongolia. Um,
Oh, let's hear.
yes,
Let's hear something.
I had horse meat.
Whoa. Okay.
Yes,
How's that?
horse meat. They didn't tell us until after we had it. So that might
Yeah.
be that.
Oh.
Yeah, they didn't want to tell us before we had it, right? So it was interesting. It was kind of tough
Oh
meat.
my.
It
Yeah.
tasted kind of wild. Um, I also had a yak meat there. Yak.
Yeah.
At first, I saw it, but I didn't know what it was. I just thought, okay,
Oh.
it's just our meal, right? But then I saw some long hair on it, and I was just about,
Oh.
yeah, there was some long hair on it, and I was just about to complain to the waiter or waitress, and then that
Oh no.
they made the announcement
Oh
that
no.
this is yak meat, and it wasn't
Oh
bad. I mean,
no.
we had our vegetables, and we had our our rice with it too. So it just yeah, it's interesting when I travel. I just want to try different meats and not different meats, but different foods. And I mean, if it doesn't if it doesn't hurt you, it won't kill you, right? So
Yeah.
and a lot of people they they've survived on that for
Yeah.
hundreds of years, right? So
Yeah, it's true. And in addition, seeing that you're a foodie, to I want to share with you. I agree that life is too short to miss out on a good
yes,
meal,
yes.
especially. What got you into, turned you into, to such a foodie?
I think it comes from my international traveling. I
Mm, yeah,
yes, yes. I just think that saying, "When in Rome," right?
yeah.
When in Rome, like when you're there at whatever culture or country you're at, just try it, right? Just try
Hmm.
it. You're there, like that's all. That's what traveling is all about. I mean, if you want comfort, if you are scared all the time, then just stay home, right?
Hmm.
But you have to step outside of your box and breathe a different kind of air, right? Sleep on a different kind of bed or even on the ground, right? And try the different foods and hear all the different noises. And yeah, it just makes me feel really alive. And it's probably one of those few moments in my life where I'm more present and I'm most present. And I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not thinking about the future, worrying about the future, right? I'm just in the present moment, looking at my surrounding, experiencing and feeling and hearing and tasting my surroundings. And yeah, going back to food, that's really what it is. It's my travels that really forced me out of stepping out of my comfort zone. And like you said earlier, life is so short, right? Life is so short, and I never want to have any regrets. I don't want to be on my deathbed and wonder, oh, geez, I wish I tried that, whatever, right? Blah, 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 at wherever place, right? I don't want to have any regrets.
Yeah. So it sounds to me like you're saying, when you're traveling and trying out things that are out of your comfort zone,
Mm,
when you're not complacent, it's at your most authentic self.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. I have the strongest sense of myself. Um, And, I know not a lot of people have the privilege of traveling as much as I have. So I feel very, very privileged for having the opportunities to do that. Um, and just really, again, being present and just learning about the culture. And I try to learn a bit of the language too before I go, right? I just, a month before I leave, I go on YouTube and I just try to learn just some basic phrases. And because you go there, if you're speaking English all the time, like I feel that's disrespecting the other culture. And you're in their home now, you're right. That's
Mhm.
their life. And you need to I need to respect that, right? And so I need to and I want to learn a few phrases, and I find that it has helped me a number of times. So I'm glad I learned it before I left. So yeah, I feel more grateful. I feel very grateful after I come back. After I come back, and just knowing that whatever my vulnerabilities are, it's my superpower. So yeah, I think a lot about I think a lot about that when I'm away for some strange reason. But then when I come back, yeah, it's different.
Yeah. And in addition, the world has so much beauty to see. If you just go home and just just look at just what's right here, just in your own yard where you can just be in that moment, just thousands of kilometers away, and just live, right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Live.
Yes, yes. I just feel most alive there. And this is not to say that here
Yeah.
home this is not to say that Edmonton is a bad place,
Oh no, not at
or
all.
no, it just it's just a different kind of feeling. And I do still feel alive here, right? But
Hmm.
when I go on that plane, when I go to that international airport, right, Edmonton International Airport, and I know I'm going to go on that plane, oh wow, it's just, and I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure you can relate. It's just such a, exciting feeling. And to know that I get this opportunity. Not a lot of people get this opportunity. And I feel so privileged, and just so grateful and so blessed. So yeah,
Absolutely.
nothing against Edmonton. Love our river valley. I really
Oh,
do.
absolutely.
Yeah, it's
Actually, yeah. Actually, absolutely. I've always made the case that um, Edmonton is actually very rich
mhm.
in local, no, restaurants. In fact, what even got to me personally was during the pandemic when all the stores were restaurants, all the restaurants had to shut down. It affected so many individuals, waiters, waitresses,
Yes.
chefs, owners, and restaurants are the places where we have so many great memories, anniversaries, birthdays, happy hour. Some people were even remember where that's where they popped the big one. In
Yes,
fact,
that's
some
true.
as we as this podcast episode airs, some will remember when they were asking the restaurant to help them work out the arrangement to to kind of sneak in the proposal. Maybe it wasn't the dessert, and then they were just all nicely dressed up, just so nervous to get the words out. And then when they get on that one knee, the
Mm.
fiance gets that big, and then everyone at the restaurant get that big round of applause as they finally say that, "Will you marry me?"
Mhm.
And they say yes.
And then COVID came, and that all changed, right?
Yeah.
What's your favorite restaurant, Pierre?
Oh, there are so many to name. Just recently, my we ordered some food from a Jamaican restaurant named
Oh,
Sauce.
sauce. Okay.
Yeah, it's on St. Albert Trail.
Okay.
Another one that I really like, uh, the Louisiana Purchase.
You know, did they not close down?
Oh no, they just relocated.
Oh, really? I did not know that.
Yeah,
Okay. I thought I'd been there before. Yeah, it was really good. And then they closed down, right? And now they have a new building built on top of it. But
yeah.
whereabouts did they relocate?
It's on St. Albert Trail and
Oh.
close to 137th Avenue.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
and in addition, they yeah, it's actually what happened initially was that they were in downtown Edmonton,
Mhm.
and then they opened another location
Mhm.
close to uh, about St. Albert Trail.
Oh,
But then they closed the St. Albert, sorry, the downtown
right.
location,
Right.
and they kept the
St. Albert Trail.
St. Albert Trail location.
Okay. So you highly recommend Louisiana Purchase?
Absolutely.
Yes. Did you
Yeah,
have
that meat.
alligator? Did you have alligator meat?
Yes.
What did you think of it?
I had, yeah. This is not the first time I've had it though. I've had it when I was in the actual
Hmm.
New Orleans, down in the Big Easy.
Yeah, I've been there. I've been
Yeah,
there.
love it, alligator. Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah, it was really good.
Oh yeah, there's too many so many great restaurants. Some I said local restaurant, the meat,
Yes.
the Sugar Bowl.
Oh, yes. Around the university area. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
What
that's
about
the.
you?
Sorry?
What about you? Your favorite restaurants?
Oh, wow. So many to name. So I don't want to play favorites or anything. But I know I
That's why
love.
it's so tough, right?
Yes, that's right. Yes. I think I really like my Vietnamese restaurants. I'm not Vietnamese, but I really like Vietnamese food. There's this sandwich, the Vietnamese sandwich, which is called banh mi, which,
What
sorry?
is that in Richie?
No, it's in Chinatown. But I'm sure they
Okay.
make the banh mi, which is the sandwich, in a lot of the Vietnamese restaurants.
Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah. So there's a number of Vietnamese restaurants in Chinatown, and I try to support them during the pandemic. So
Hmm.
happy to see that during the pandemic, a lot of them were still open. Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, it was nice to go and support them, support because it's their livelihood, right? It was their
Uh-huh.
livelihood, and I know they really struggled too. So yeah, kudos to them for getting through it. And what other restaurants I like around the city? Yeah, some Chinese restaurants too. There's the Sai Wu on 97th Street, and I believe it's on, I want to say 100, kind of close to 107th Avenue, 106, 107th Avenue around there. Um, I've also tried Louisiana Purchase as well when it was in the downtown area. Um, but yeah, I seem to try more when I'm overseas than when I'm local. So, and then
Mm.
there's the Heritage Festival, right?
Oh,
Heritage
yeah.
Festival, right? Oh, Just
Yeah.
just a wonderful, wonderful festival to attend, and so I just try as many food as I can.
Yeah. You know who actually helped me with a little bit of like to try out like different restaurants when
Who?
I was traveling? Anthony Bourdain.
Oh, really? Wow. Yeah, he really traveled a lot.
Yeah. So it's a shame because when I was in New Orleans, like he was, I think he was making did a, it was Parts Unknown, if I'm
Hmm.
not mistaken,
Yes.
did that TV show. It was in New Orleans. He's just talking about some of the, yeah, and he goes to the just local places and
Hmm.
chat. There was talking with local, and he was talking about how he loves that place. And I went there and I ate like a king. And Montreal is another city where they do food real good.
Oh, is that right? I've never been to Montreal. So,
Montreal is also another beauty. You have to go
okay.
because they have the old architecture of of a European city in the old
Mm.
port.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. I've seen pictures of it. Yes, just looks so beautiful. I will have to try to
it
make
is
it. I will have to try to make it.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and in addition to being a foodie, like
Hmm.
how did you like get how your love for being for like being outdoorsy for like mountain, he said what is it, like ice skating, mountain climbing, and being
uh,
active.
yeah, you know, I think it started with climbing Mount Kilimanjaro like in 2006.
Wait,
And
Mount Kilimanjaro. You climb Mount
Yes.
Kilimanjaro?
Yes, I climbed it twice, but the first time, it was in 2006, so that was my first time, and I missed the summit by 1 hour, and so I had to turn around and come back down as soon as I could. The reason why I had to turn around was because my head was hurting a lot, and that wasn't a good sign. So I think I wasn't hydrating enough. So that was the first time, and then and I think that um, really set off the trajectory for me in terms of just mountain climbing and hiking and just being outdoors. And because before that, I never was like, I don't know what that is. I don't know what hiking is. I don't know what mountain climbing is. But I found that just the just being outside, right, just being outside and just being with like-minded people, you know, I'm not going to go by myself, you know, I go with like-minded people, and
Yeah.
just you know, getting slowly up to the top of the mountain. And so I tried it again in 2018, which was 5 years ago. I tried Kilimanjaro again, and I finally did it. I finally did
Hmm.
it. Um, I remember the same spot where I stopped, like, you know, in 2006, and I remember in 2018, I thought, no, I can't stop here again. I have to go. So I stuffed myself with those sesame crackers, and just to get some energy. And I got up, and I think it was one of the hardest things I had to do, like physically, mentally, and emotionally. It was so hard because there was so little oxygen up at that point. And yeah, I was just you know, I hate to admit this, but I was crying for that last hour, and because I just couldn't believe, I just couldn't believe. I got to the top and I saw the boards. Anyone who has gone to that top would understand what the boards are. The boards were just these boards where it says that, you know, you made it to the highest point in Africa. The highest point, called that point was called Uhuru, and but the whole mountain was called Kilimanjaro, right? So it was such a special moment for me, and it's one of those um, just just moments in my life that very pivotal. And I think something within me changed 5 years ago, um, coming back down, you know, to civilization, to sea level, and it just changed me. It just really changed me. So sorry,
Wow.
I don't know if I answered your question about why, how did I get
No,
to be so
actually,
outdoorsy.
you did.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
show off. Oh.
Oh, come on.
No,
You know, it's just, I had to do it twice.
I kid.
I had to do it twice. You know, so many people had, they got it that first time, and I, you know, but I can't be hard on myself. Right. And again, I'm
No,
so
you know what?
privileged. I'm so privileged to have had the opportunity to do it again. And it just felt like the icing on the cake for me. So, yeah,
Yeah. And like, I just want to quickly
sure.
go back to the to the not to the books that you've written, but this time to Bend It Like You,
Hmm.
because this time you're taking on, you know, like a topic that has had some stigma, you know,
Hmm.
that is mental health. For uh, like when we were younger, like just talking about mental health or depression used to be, you know, seen as kind of taboo, or seen as a sign of weakness. And what's to people that have like a negative view of people have mental that actually have like mental illness, what do you want to say to them?
Oh, you know, I think I want to say to them is to reach out to someone to talk to, um, someone you could trust, right? Um, and if you have no one, then go to a community health center and and just try to talk to someone there, and it can be a very lonely feeling. It's a very lonely feeling. You feel like you're the only person in the whole wide world who's feeling so down and such a dark time in your life, right? And if I could tell this person, I would say that reach out to someone. There's no shame. There's no shame in talking about what's really hurting you and what's going on, right? And what are you afraid of? What are you scared of? Right? There's no shame, and in our society, we are a very success oriented society, right? And if we focus anything about failures or weaknesses, right, it's you don't you we just don't focus on that, right? I mean, that's why we have the Olympics, right? That's why we have the Grammy awards, and that's why we have the top 40 under 40, and all about successes, right? And then if we fall short of any of those, right,
Hmm.
we feel like we are less than. We feel like we're not valuable anymore. We feel unworthy, right? And we're always
Hmm.
striving for perfection when there is nothing, there's no such thing as perfection, right? And unfortunately, and I know this could be another podcast, but unfortunately, with social media, right?
Hmm.
It fosters perfection, right? And we're always
Yeah,
trying to curate our photos or our stories to make it perfect, right? So everyone will be envious of us. And so, yeah, I could go on and on. Again, that's a whole different podcast, right? So, yeah,
yeah,
it's hard. Everybody's struggling. Everybody's struggling, but everybody's doing the best they can. And yeah, if I could tell that, you know, person who's just feeling really alone right now is to reach out and um is and some, or maybe someone in the family, right, or even just a friend, right, and just talk, because there's no shame in doing that.
yeah, absolutely. And it's so funny that you talk about. It's actually it's so coincidental that you talk about how everyone is, you know, striving for perfection, and we have all these things like for Olympics and so forth. And I brings back over a year ago when some Simone Biles decided to step down for the Olympics. She needed to look after her mental health. She
Yes.
wasn't 100% there, and then she was, and then she was suddenly attacked because
Hmm.
of uh, from for saying that, like saying I'm not well, I need to
Hmm.
look after myself.
Yes, I remember
But
that.
what? Huh? Yeah. So
I
your
I
thoughts on that?
Oh, wow, when she did that, and even Naomi Osaka, right?
Yeah.
Remember that?
When she withdrew from the, uh, was it
As
Wimbledon or the
or the
U.S. Open?
French, or was it the French? I don't know, but it was a big tournament, right? And she said, "No,
Okay.
I got to look after myself. I got to take care of myself." And wow, that was so monumental. These two young ladies, right? These two
Absolutely.
young ladies, like, I mean, if this happened, like, I mean, I don't even know. I'm just so speechless about that. Like, if this happened, um, I don't know, 20 years ago, right? Like it would have just ruined their careers, right? But no, I think, for them to speak up, right? And to show their authentic self and to inspire young people, young ladies,
Exactly.
especially young ladies to have a strong sense of themselves and to know that they are good enough. You don't need the Olympics. You don't need the tennis, Wimbledon, right? To make you feel like you're enough, right? You are good enough, even without any of those statuses, right? And it's okay to be vulnerable, right? It's okay to be vulnerable, and it's their superpower, right? And I think these young ladies, their moral compass and their values are aligned with their behaviors, right? Because
Hmm.
you have some people that say, "Oh yes, yes, I'm going to go take care of myself, and yes, I'm going to see a therapist and so forth." What? But on the other hand, their behavior, they're still self-destructing, right? And yeah, so what they say and what they do is two different things, right? And so these two young ladies, they're what they say and what they do actually align, right? And they're just my heroes. They really are. Like I do remember that, and that inspires me to talk more about myself, right? So, and again, that could be another podcast. So
Absolutely. And like it's no, it, we have to say it's okay to just admit that I think it's really okay to admit that it's like even like like another case where I don't know like if we always get that way when like so even like celebrities get gets like some big story breaks out about celebrities and depression hit. But
mm,
like go back to just a few moments ago, we were talking about Anthony Bourdain. Anthony
yes,
Bourdain was dealing with depression and took his own life.
yes,
Or that I think what that same year there was I think Kate Spade who
that
had
same week, the same week.
that same week.
Yeah, I remember that.
And
Yeah.
then a few years ago, a big heartache in the comedy world.
Yes.
Robin Williams.
Yes.
That took me. That shook me hard
Yes.
because
Yes.
you have no idea how much I love Robin Williams.
So did I.
I
I grew up.
laugh.
Yes. Sorry
Yeah.
to cut you off there.
No, no,
Yes.
no. It's okay. Go ahead.
Yes. I'm the same. I hear you, Pierre. Robin Williams. Like I grew up watching Mork and Mindy, and
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but yeah, that's how old I am. I grew up watching Mork and Mindy, and you know, little did we all know that he was really
Hmm.
struggling. He was struggling.
Hmm.
He hit it so well, right? Just like Anthony Bourdain, right? And
Hmm.
um, it's just so it's heartbreaking. It really is. And I just hope that um, my book, if it could just help one person, right, to reach out
Exactly.
to someone, right? A stranger at the bus station, doesn't matter, to someone, right? If they
And
could reach out to someone and get some help, then all of the trials and adversities and challenges that I've been through was all worth it. So,
exactly. And you bring up these two themes, perseverance
mm-hmm,
and resiliency,
mm-hmm,
as two features of people, two ways to describe people uh, that are going through like mental illness.
mm-hmm,
I've I have obviously seen my I've had my definition. I thought I had my correct definition of them, but for people that are listening to this episode, can you reiterate how, like, what would be your definition of each and how they kind of play off each other?
I think it's different for every person, and they could be overlapping as well. Resiliency and perseverance. There's no cut and dry, black or white. Boundaries for each definition. I think there's an overlap, and I can't think of and just in terms of the people in my book, the way they just what they had gone through, and the perseverance, like meaning to just keep going, right, to just keep going. And then that also brings in resiliency too, right, because you kind of need both in order to kind of keep going, right. And so I don't want to keep bringing in the academic definition for each of them, right? Because it's really about the feelings, right? The feelings for each individual, and it differs for each person. Essentially, it's about knowing that it's about moving forward, right? It's about setting goals for yourself. It's about setting healthy boundaries, and just having no shame, or not no shame, but just seeing that there is no shame in how you're feeling, right? And your feelings are valid, right? So that in in essence is what perseverance and resiliency, in my view.
Yeah, absolutely. And with that, with all that being said, like, how would you define being authentic?
Oh, to me, being authentic is having a strong sense of myself, uh, to know that I'm privileged, to know that I'm good enough, or maybe I'm more than good enough, to know that, and to be kind to myself, right? To have compassion for myself and to have grace for myself, um, and being grateful, and to know that it's okay to be vulnerable. There's no shame in that. Um, and that my values and moral compass aligns with my behavior. Um, and to know that, um, my definition of success, right? What is the definition of success, right? I noticed that recently my definition of success has changed from, let's say, 5 or even 10 or even 15 years ago. I'll give you an example. Um, I recently I recently got a new job, and it's something I've always wanted for the longest time, and I finally got it. Um, but I wasn't feeling the elation and the confettis and the rainbows, and the trumpets and everything. And I wasn't quite sure why, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm very grateful for the job. I love it. I really do. I love my boss. I love the people I work with. I love the work, right? But I think my definition of success has changed in the sense that, um, I am more than my occupational status, right? I'm more than that. And whereas before, I really identified with my occupational status, right? And so that's when I know I'm starting to become more authentic, is when I know that my definition of success has changed. So that's that. And surrounding myself with people who care about me, and setting boundaries for those who are toxic. Um, and also when I'm traveling, is when I feel my most authentic. Is I feel more present than I ever have, and I'm not thinking about the past. I'm not thinking about the future. Um, trusting myself, listening to my gut instinct more, living my life on my own terms. Um, just having more of a heightened awareness of of um, of people and situations I find myself in, or are these people good or not? And yeah, and to know that even though I have different values, I that that I should not be devalued just because I have different values. So um, and to also read more about and to speak to others more about the issues that I wrote about in my book, because it happens more than we like to admit, and there's no shame in shining a light on it. So yeah, I I know I'm a work in progress, as everyone else is, and I don't think anyone has it all figured out. Um, so yeah, I've just being content, and that's yeah, that's my list of what I think is being authentic.
And what would be your advice to someone struggling to be the most authentic self?
Oh, what advice I would give to someone who's struggling to be their most authentic self? Don't be so hard on yourself. That's what I would tell them. Don't be hard on yourself, and just have compassion for yourself. Just to be kind. Just be kind to yourself. That's really the biggest thing. I know there's a lot of other things I could say, but that's really the big thing, and that's something I try to remind myself too. Whether I'm going through a job interview or whether I'm going to do my first podcast, right? Or climbing my mountains. Just don't be hard on yourself, and you just try your best, and just to have fun, right? Just to have fun. And I don't mean like, vacationing all the time, or, um, skateboarding down the street all the time or anything like that, right? Just, joke around, have a sense of humor, right? Just, just being content. And it doesn't necessarily have to be rainbows and roses and unicorns all the time, right? It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be sad, and it's okay to be not okay.
Words of wisdom from Nancy Aim. The books, No Really, Where Are You From? And Bend It Like You are available at chapters at Kingsway Mall in Edmonton, Alberta. Nancy, thank you so much for being part of Truth Be Told.
Thank you so much, Pierre, for having me. It was such an honor.
Thank you so much for participating. And to our listeners and viewers, thank you so much for listening. And remember, stay true.